Hello, everyone. Today we're going to do a training guide for beginners, an introduction to debating and case prepping. We heard all of you on the group, all of you were asking for some sort of guide for freshers and beginners. So here you have it. Your training today will be conducted by myself, Ishani Agarwal. I'm the president of Debaters of India.
And me, Siddharth Manantala, I'm head of growth and finances.
All right, so without further ado, let's begin. Before we move on to case prepping and what debating really is, let's just understand what you're judged on when you're delivering a speech. What is it that your panel is looking out for? So there's three parameters that you're essentially judged on. Your matter, manner, and method. Matter accounts for 40% of what you're saying. Your matter is basically what you say. Manner is 40% of your score again, which is how you say it. And your method is 20% of your score, why you're saying it. So your matter is essentially not only the things you say in your arguments, but also the things you say through your points of information, the answers of the points of information that you give, and the rebuttals that you present. Your manner, again, is not only your body language, but also eye contact, your choice of vocabulary, your hand gestures, and your voice modulation. Contrary to popular opinion, debating is not only about being very assertive and loud, you can put your point across in many other ways as well. And then your method includes your interpretation of the motion, the relevance of what you're saying, not only with respect to the topic, but also the relevance of it with respect to what your opposition has presented, your time allocation, and the structure of your speech.
The second thing is essentially about characterization in your motion or your setup. We can take the example of this house would ban alcohol for the purpose of understanding. Side government or proposition would essentially firstly claim that they support the motion. Then they talk about the problem they're trying to solve. They'll talk about how alcohol is a problem, how people drive under the influence of alcohol, how people become abusive and violent because of alcohol, for example, and then they continue with that. Afterwards, they'll be talking about what they're aiming to do in the motion and how essentially they're going to solve it and why this will be effective. This is also known as the model and is applicable in some debates, whereas in others it might not be applicable. Then essentially you give a small brief about why essentially this is better, your solution is better than the status quo, or why it's better than side opposition. And lastly, you will essentially speak about how you outweigh the benefits given by side opposition and how as a whole you're better than the status quo. Side opposition, on the other hand, can talk about how the status quo, which is legal drinking, is fine, or they can also talk about how essentially they have some other solution apart from banning alcohol. Then they'll talk about essentially how their solution is better than side proposition, why they're doing this, and why this outweighs side proposition's case.
All right. So now coming to case prep. Why is case prep important? This is because most tournaments that you participate in internationally will have impromptu rounds, and they give you a prep time of somewhat between 15 minutes to 1 hour based on the format of the debate that you're doing. So the first thing you want to do when you get your motion is framing. Framing is essentially the setup of your debate. Now, framing consists of three main steps: characterization, as Sid has already explained, but let me explain this a little more in detail. Characterization refers to defining two key things. Number one, the terms, and number two, the status quo. Now let's continue with the same motion, right? This house would ban alcohol. So the first thing you do under characterization is defining the terms. Defining the term looks like defining the keywords, which is banning. So what does banning look like on your side of the house? Does this mean banning of all sorts of alcohol? Does this mean a universal ban, or does it mean a ban in particular parts of the country? So what does banning look like? And the second key term is alcohol. So does this mean banning all kinds of alcohol, or does it mean allowing alcohol which is used in medication, things like that? And the second thing you define is the status quo. Now, what is the status quo? The status quo is basically the world where this debate is taking place. So what does the status quo look like? You paint the panel a picture of the status quo. So the status quo can look like a world where we have underage drinking, a world where we have abuse due to alcohol consumption and things like that. So you have to make sure that the definition of the status quo that you give is pertinent to the motion. The second thing you do under framing is stakeholder analysis. Stakeholders are basically the people who are impacted in this debate, right? So the first question you answer is, who all will this motion affect? So who all does the banning of alcohol affect? It affects number one, the consumers naturally. Number two, the producers, because the industry is going to be affected. Number three, the government, because the government will be involved in the regulation and the banning. And number four, everyone else besides the consumers and the producers who might have been victims of the alcohol abuse, who might have been victims of road rage and drunk driving and things like that. Then you elaborate upon how they will be affected. And the last thing you do under stakeholder analysis is the likely outcome of this. So you talk about how in the short run it might lead to riots and protests by the consumers and the producers, but in the long run it will lead to a happier, healthier, and safer society, because by extension, it will solve problems on part of the consumers as well in terms of reducing issues like a blurred sense of judgment, a blurred sense of vision, liver and kidney damage, and things like that. And your burden. Now you have to identify your burden and then you have to ensure that you fulfill your burden. What is your burden? Your burden is what do you have to prove in this debate as side proposition or side opposition. So if your side proposition in this debate of the motion, this house would ban alcohol, your burden is to prove why banning of alcohol is necessary and by extension why it is beneficial. And if you're opposition, you have to prove why the banning of alcohol is not necessary and why it may even be harmful because it might lead to a scenario of black marketing and things like that.
The second step is arguably the most important, which is deciding upon your arguments and allotting your arguments to each speaker. Essentially, the first thing you do is the claim or the title of your argument, and that's also known as an assertion. For the motion, this house would ban alcohol, an assertion could be that individuals commit heinous acts under the influence of alcohol. Then you'll give a context as to what the status quo looks like. You'll talk about how underage drinking, drunk driving, abusive families, all of that exists because of alcohol. Please note, if your proposition, then your characterization will be biased towards your side of the house, and your characterization will look like you mainly talking about how alcohol is bad. And in your characterization, you'll have very few points talking about the potential benefits of alcohol. The second is the explanation. You'll talk about the reasoning behind the problem, why individuals, commit heinous acts under the influence of alcohol. In this specific scenario, I can talk about how individuals are hardly senseless and are not about their wit when they consume alcohol. Secondly, I can talk about how alcohol is so widely accessible to everyone. So even if there are individuals who consume responsibly, a lot of individuals don't consume responsibly. And then I'll give an explanation as to why my argument is important, why this harms so many people, why there are so many stakeholders involved within this argument title. The fourth thing I do is talk about the harms in the status quo. I'll talk about how, for example, in the last point, I spoke about how alcohol is accessible to everyone. I'll now come about to my argument title and say, because it's accessible to everyone, it's consumed by so many people, and hence domestic violence, sexual assault, and other such cases exist. The fifth step will essentially be the solvency. How we on side proposition, for example, are solving this problem. We're solving it by banning. And then I'll go on and I'll link it to my model and I'll say we'll ban it with these steps and I'll say X, Y, Z. After that, I'll talk about the impacts. How does the world look like if alcohol has been banned? If alcohol wasn't banned, how would it look like? And then I talk about the impact on the stakeholders. It's also very important to divide arguments. The most important argument should be given to the first speaker, and the most intuitive argument should be given to the second speaker. An argument essentially composes of claim, analysis, and then examples, evidence, and statistics.
All right, coming to the third step, which is engagement, it is very important to realize that a debate is not only about pre prepared speeches, but it's also about interacting and engaging with your opposition. This can happen in three ways. Let me explain the first two, and then Siddharth will explain the third one. The first one is rebuttals. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard about rebuttals. Rebuttals are basically where you reply and refute to what your opposition is saying by providing proper analysis and examples. So if your opposition comes up and says that, oh, we believe that social media is very beneficial for its users, and you're going against them, you can come up and say that no, social media is actually very harmful because number one, it promotes low self-esteem. Number two, we believe that social media is also harmful because it's addictive. It leads to higher screen times, which thereby leads to a lack of focus and efficiency and things of that nature. The second way you can engage with your opposition is by calling them out for misinterpretations of the motion when they've misunderstood what you're saying or misinterpreted the motion. calling them out for mischaracterizations when they've painted the picture wrong, calling them out for cherry picked or isolated examples when they only provide examples which benefit their case but are ignoring the 360-degree perspective, and calling them out for uncharitable cases. An uncharitable case is where your opposition is only focusing on their best case scenario and your worst case scenario. This is necessary to call out because this is something that the judges usually look out for. And now Siddharth will explain points of information.
The third thing, and one of the most important, is POIs. POIs are a form of engagement which are in your speech or which you can ask a person who's the speaker, even if you're not currently speaking. So POIs essentially stands for point of information, and it's when your opposing team asks you a question during your speech, or when you, as the opposing team, ask the speaker a question about their speech. Continuing with the example of this house would ban alcohol, side opposition, for example, can ask the first proposition speaker, the side proposition really believe that banning alcohol is a long-term solution. This is a form of engagement because now side proposition is furthering their case and negating side proposition's case by talking about or hinting upon the fact that banning alcohol might not be the long-term solution because things like black market exists. Another benefit of POIs are that it's a way for you to manage time better. And if you've asked a speaker a POI, you can later address it or continue on the line or thread of that POI in your speech, which makes it a dual form of engagement. Yeah, so the best way to, make yourself better debating is keep practicing, keep watching good debates, and keep making notes. That's the only way you'll get better. And I know it might get tiring at times, but that is the way you become a better debater.
So thank you all for watching this video. You can follow us on Instagram at Debaters of India, and you can reach out to us over there if you have any more questions or if you want us to make videos on any other topic. Keep debating and all the best.